So
what's funny is we were talking just fine. Yeah. The cameras are going.
and we're like, who's starting?
Hey guys.
What do we talk about now?
So I've had a life update. I've realized that I can, in fact, drive home to Virginia by myself. Never have. Lived down here since June of 2012. Never driven up there by myself. I've flown up there by myself, but never driven up there. And I succeeded, obviously, because I'm back home in Georgia now.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
And it's about 12 hours there, 12 hours back?
Yeah.
Roughly.
So like a whole day of driving.
That's like more than a whole day. I would consider like between 6 and 8 hours to be a whole day of driving. You did a day and a half of driving.
Yeah, it was a lot. And then I like packed. You had given me your cooler. So I packed my sandwiches. Like I literally only stopped for gas because I was like, I'm not getting got.
No.
I'm not getting taken.
She ain't getting got.
No, it was just not going to happen. So yeah, that was that. That's my life update.
Okay.
That's pretty much as exciting as it got.
My life
Actually, that's a lie. I mean, I went to a really, really, really fun wedding. So like the what I did there was very, very fun. But I figure I won't talk about it.
Okay.
But I'm like, I don't think they listen, but I'm like, they probably don't want me to talk about it.
Only if you're going to say good things, I would think.
I will say, I've never been to a wedding before that had like a display screen of the music videos that went with the songs.
Yeah, you were telling me about the DJ, and I was like, where can we go to a party or like a club or something like this? Because this sounds lit. It sounds like a good time.
I guess we just have to go to Virginia.
We have to.
We have to go.
That's the only place that has that scene.
And that DJ, maybe we can just show up to that venue and just be like wedding crashers and be like,
oh, it'd be fun.
Come in here. We're gonna come in here. Yeah,
we're
guests.
We're just gonna like slip in.
But yeah, it was really, really beautiful though. And I'm trying to save my bouquet, so I'm doing the whole resin thing where like you have. For those that don't know, I pull it to you. The whole epoxy resin thing. There's a step for flowers I did not know, and I'm very glad I came across it before. You have to dry them out completely. So you get like the silica gel sand type thing, and I got that from Hobby Lobby. It's like a bag of it. And so I'm trying to dry out my flowers. And you have to literally do that and then wait like a week and a half to 2 weeks. And I'm like...
Because it's basically like pressed dried flowers and then you...
Well, they're not pressed.
Oh, you're not pressing them?
No. I mean, literally...
You're going to leave them like...
Flower, yeah.
Flowered.
Yes. And they're going to stay... Yeah, because at first I was going to press them.
That feels challenging for a first-time resin user.
Yeah.
Not that I would know anything about resin, but it
you're
feels...
Right.
Okay.
You're correct. Like
this feels like a beginner level, and then there's like moderate or intermediate, and then there's like expert. You're feeling like intermediate territory.
That's kind of my personality though. Like if I'm kind of gonna start something, I never am like, let me start with beginner level. I'm like, I could fucking do that. I'm not, I mean, I'm like different. I'm talented. I can do this. It's how hard can it be?
Me walking around with my mom yesterday, looking at different like the Halloween decors on sale and different like Christmas stuff that's out. I looked at my mom multiple times and I said, "What's wrong with me that I look at this decoration and I'm like, I could make that."
No, literally same. Literally,
I could make it for cheaper and better.
Do you know what I want to make?
What?
I want to make a Christmas village. I've always wanted a Christmas village.
I love Christmas villages,
and I want to make one because I have a house to put one in now.
Yeah. Oh, and like you want to make the individual pieces, or you want to just start buying little bits to create?
So,
like, do you want to handcraft your village or just buy the?
I wanted to buy like, because the Dollar Tree has a lot of cheap Christmas village things, and I want to basically like repurpose them and make them how I want them to look. And so I'm like, okay, that's an option. Or going to thrift stores and finding old pieces and then like repainting them, doing however I want to.
Do you know what's funny? My dad does that with chess sets. He's really into like redecorating, like and refurbishing, I guess is what it's called.
Yeah.
Old school like chess sets and stuff, and like old school games.
Yeah.
So he like is very into doing that kind of stuff. Like he had found this one like it's an old school like football game where it's literally these little figurines, and you have your players on both sides. You line them up and you set them on this magnetic sort of like board, and then you turn it on and basically it vibrates. And so then the pieces on the magnets move around the board. And so it like plays a game of football with the pieces on it. It's very cool and very old school.
Yeah.
But he like painted them all, like, because he's very big into like Saints, New Orleans Saints. That's his team. That's our whole family.
I was like, I think that's your entire family.
Whole family.
Team. On like both sides. That's like,
all sides.
Yeah.
Yes. And so he like repainted the figurines to have like the Saints uniforms and jerseys and stuff.
That's super cute.
Yeah. And he's very into doing stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, fun.
Yeah. That would be fun.
do your little Christmas village. We can make ourselves paint ourselves.
Yeah, we can make ourselves. We can make our set.
Mm-hmm.
We can do all that. Easy. That's not hard at all. Like, not hard, and then like it is. But no, so I'm trying to do that with my flowers. We'll see. Because they were like, it was a beat. Mm-hmm. So fucking pretty. I mean, literally, I'll show you pictures. It's so fucking beautiful. I was
what flowers was it?
That's funny.
I knew
there were roses involved.
As soon as the question popped in my head, I'm like, she's not.
I was like, why
know.
the fuck would you say that to me? Okay, so there were roses because they had pink, and then there were orange. And the orange ones are beautiful because like that's actually my favorite color is orange.
So was it like a bright orange or was it like a peachy, like a peach orange?
Peachy orange, maybe not. Yeah, I'd say like a peachy orange because it complemented the pink really well. So it wasn't like, bah.
Was it a champagne rose?
Stop. I don't fucking know. Why would you? What is that?
They're these. I have them on my tattoo. The champagne roses are like, it's like a peachy, it's like a blush pink leaning into peachy champagne rose.
Know. You'll see. Anyway, super beautiful. I drove up there. I guess I couldn't say why I went up there. I feel like I just was like, I drove 12 hours. That's my life update. So basically, I went to my best friend's wedding, Katie. She got married, obviously. Mm-hmm. And her and Ben have been together for 10, 11 years. I think 11 years. So she's like the only other person on the entire planet that I know that's been with her significant other like that long and we're this like being this young. And so not a lot of people I'd do that for. So if you listen, Katie, just know.
Congratulations to Katie and Ben. Yay.
It was, and it's so funny because Katie's not sweet. And so the whole weekend was everybody just kind of teasing her, being like, you're going to have to be nice to him. Like even the wedding plan. I mean, she's like, I don't know that she was technically the wedding planner, but she probably owned the venue.
The coordinator, maybe? Yeah. The day of.
Yeah, but she was there for the rehearsal and she owns the venue from my understanding. So I think she was just really involved. Like, I don't know if she was technically the wedding planner or not, but she might have
in charge of the venue. Well, because sometimes the people in charge of the venue have to coordinate with other people to make sure everything's going okay.
She told me when to walk down the aisle, so I mean, she was involved.
Then she's the coordinator.
Yeah, she was like involved.
Some venues like provide a coordinator.
Yeah. And so she was British, so that was fun. So we really listened.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm not getting reprimanded with that accent. It's not happening. But she even at one point was like, and remember, you paid a lot of money for your photographer. So when you kiss, don't just kiss and like, it needs to be at least 3 seconds with the photographer can get whatever. And we're like giggling because we know that they can't, I mean, by they, I mean Katie.
PDA.
Yeah, not into, which I totally get because I'm not either. Like literally, like, I don't think any of my friends have ever seen me and Travis kiss because I don't think it's ever happened.
I don't think ever.
Like literally. So that was the first time I've ever seen her and Ben kiss either. So it was, and a lot of people were like, I've never seen that before. So, no. And then I was like, I feel like I watched something dirty because it's like forbidden.
I need to look away.
Whoa,
this feels like very private.
But so that was funny, and yeah, it was a good time. And then I drove back, and that was the whole reason I went up there. But it's proven to me that I can actually go now. Like before, I feel like I had to like plan very strategically, like. How am I going to get up there? And let me look for a plane ticket because I don't want to go by myself. Like not realizing I'm an adult and can actually drive that far by myself, even though it's not ideal because it's a long trip, but like I can obviously survive. So I got home and I was like, I can fucking go by my goddamn self.
I think the idea of it is more like intimidating than the actual when you're doing it part. Cause it's like, just the idea of being stuck in a car for that long and like you got no choice. Like that's your end destination. You have to suffer through the next 12 hours. But yeah, the idea of it I think is worse than the actual. Like,
yeah. And really the trip was fine till I got where I'm from. Well, you hit Fredericksburg, Virginia, trash. Like, sorry. Literal trash, interstate trash, construction trash. Too many people live in Northern Virginia. Like literally who the fuck are all these people? Get the fuck out of here. No one can drive. They literally have, like, it's so fucking stupid that they have it where the speed limit signs will be like, they can just change because they're like electronic or whatever. And you're like,
they change it probably depending on the flow of traffic and how many cars are out. And that's annoying. It
took 40 minutes to go 17 miles on the interstate and literally is the dumbest thing on the entire planet. It's just so stupid. So many people live there. It should be illegal. They should just cap it out like no more.
See, that's why I could never live in a super big city like that. Like it's just, there's no way. Like I could live in a suburb or something like outside that has its own sort of like neighborhood area with all the amenities and groceries and restaurants and stuff. But within the city limits of a huge city, like a metropolitan area, no, could not.
It was awful.
It infuriates me if it takes me more than 5 minutes to drive anywhere.
Yeah.
I just get very put out and like,
you're like, oh,
yeah, pretty much.
It's disgusting. So. Yeah, I just couldn't deal with it. It was too much. So anyway, that was that. The end.
All right. Roll the intro.
Oh. Okay.
Let's talk about Hitler.
That'll make sense later.
I'm immaculately conceived.
I don't know what to do.
I swear I'm not stupid.
Take it or leave it. Sometimes you just want to leave it.
If I gotta borrow my mom's underwear, I'm borrowing her underwear.
You just, yeah?
Misa likes the Jar Jar Binks.
I'm not gonna edit it out.
Oh no.
I don't know. Like I think I'm just pretty great. Just staying on the planet.
Suck.
Why are you saying it with a question mark?
Clap, bitch.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Action.
And we're live. I'm Anna.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is Why Are You Yelling?
I looked so awkward the entire time we did that. I was like, yeah.
Smiling with your mouth open.
Yeah. Okay,
so I can give you my life update. Well, I can give the listeners. You already know. I went to, this is very funny. I went to my doctor last week for my regular 2-month checkup, whatever, to get my prescription refilled. And so I usually see a physician's assistant, but this time a doctor came in and I was like, oh, hey, what's up? And she was like, asking me all about my prescription refill. And then she was like, so, have you been getting your GYN care, like your pap smears, checkups, birth control, anything like that? She's like, have you been getting that like somewhere else, not here? Because this is my primary care physician. And I was like, what? No. And she was like, okay, well, last time you had a pap smear was about a little over 3 years ago. So it's time for another one. And basically she talked me into getting it done that day at that appointment. Mm-hmm. And so was not prepared, was not expecting it, but I'm like, you know what? Let's go for it. Why not? It's important to get it done. So I'm here. Let's get it done. It'll be cheaper this way. Go for it. So we did the whole thing. And then she walks out the room. And then I'm in my doctor's office. They play like music. They pipe music. And I'm pretty sure they play different music in the different rooms. I don't think it's the same music playing in all the waiting rooms or all the exam rooms. Mm-hmm. But as I'm tying my shoes, put pants on, tying my shoes back up.
This is after she's done the penetration with the speculum and she swabbed my cervix and all that. Yeah, it was great. So this is after all this has been done. They left her and the nurse that was with her left the room. I put my pants on and I'm tying my shoes, and I happened to hear the song. Dear listener, I want you to try and guess what song, because God had a sense of humor that day. What song do you think was piping into that room? Like a virgin, hey, touched for the very first time. And I noticed that song was playing as I was tying my shoes, and it cracked me up. I was like, God, you're funny today. I was chuckling hard to myself tying my shoes, and I was like, I couldn't even tell. God was like, you know what? This is how I feel today, and this is how you're going to feel. They did that to you with Riley too, didn't they?
Yes. So
during when she went to the urgent care. Yeah.
So I took my sister to urgent care. She was feeling not great, so I took her because my mom had court. She's a court reporter. She didn't have she didn't be in court.
She's a criminal.
She's
a criminal.
But so she had to work basically, and so I took my sister to urgent care. And we're sitting in the waiting room, and they're playing like orchestral pop music, like covers of pop songs. And so one of the songs was playing, and I'm like vaguely noticed that it's familiar. Yeah. And so Riley's like sitting there listening to it, and she's like, what is this song? She's like, I know this song. And she's like, it's the something about chasing cars. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you're right. It is. Let's waste time chasing cars.
That's like a classic good song.
Yes. And so I looked at my sister, and I was like, the reason I am more familiar with this song now.
Yeah.
I was like, because I've been rewatching Grey's Anatomy. I think I just started season 14. I've been rewatching it, and I'm like, they play that song a lot in the show.
Yeah.
And I looked right at her dead in the eye and said, usually it's when people are about to die.
And she's like, wait.
And she looked at me, and I was like, wait, I'm sorry. That was kind of morbid. We're in urgent care. And then she started cry laughing.
Literally, you're talking about people dying, and then our sign just starts to flicker.
Oh, it's a ghost.
Stop.
So she starts cry laughing and I start cry laughing, but we're having to be very quiet because we're in the urgent care waiting room. And I'm like, this is very inappropriate.
Yes. But that's why it's funny. Like literally that. Why would they play that? I feel like those are just moments you don't even think about. And like, if you really wouldn't have even thought about.
Oh, I just thought they also before that, because Riley mentioned it. She's like, yeah, they also played Stressed Out before this by 21 Pilots. Now I'm stressed out in the urgent care waiting room.
It's like
they were on it. They knew their crowd.
They need to just have like a urgent care spot. If there probably is one. Someone's made it, and honestly, that's what they play.
Yeah,
and somebody probably put that on the playlist on purpose.
Yes,
someone was like, someone will.
That's something
this.
I would do because I'm like, this is funny because the people that get it will get it, and the people that don't are just like, oh, nice orchestral.
They're like,
music.
wow, it's so pretty.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is when you die on Grey's Anatomy. Yeah, all of a sudden, there's like Grey's Anatomy clips on my TikTok, and I'm like, what the fuck doesn't happen in this hospital?
It's because I texted you about Grey's Anatomy, and your phone saw it, and now that's all you're seeing is Grey's Anatomy.
I keep getting clips from the shooter episode in the hospital, and let me tell you something.
That's a very...
What the fuck doesn't happen in this hospital is my
literally
point.
Everything that can go wrong does.
I think at one point an explosion also happened.
Yes, multiple.
I'm like,
literally,
I would never go to this. This sounds like the worst hospital on the planet. I would tell.
They call it Seattle Grace Mercy Death at one point because it's called Seattle Grace Mercy West. They're like, nobody wants to work at Seattle Grace Mercy Death because everyone dies here.
No, but like literally, it's like, to me, I'm like, it has reached the soap opera level of ridiculousness.
Very much.
Like there's drama shows that you're like, okay, this is just for the drama. This is like, there's nothing about this at this point that's realistic. It has the realm of realism has left the goddamn building. It's gone.
There's an episode in season 13 where Meredith Grey gets, she's working on a patient, and he had some sort of like something wrong with his brain where it caused him to have a seizure. But then he went into like this fugue state where he didn't know what he was doing or what was going on. And he basically attacks her. And he's this big man, much bigger than Meredith Grey. She's like tiny. And so he attacks her. She gets messed up to where they have to wire her jaw shut. She's recovering in the hospital, all this stuff, right? It all happens in one episode. I was crying. It was a lot.
That's just... I watched the first season or two. I remember that.
So later in the episode, they make her go to counseling. They make her go to counseling after she's been attacked and started to recover and stuff. And so the therapist is talking to her and she's like, I just need you to be the tape and glue guy. I just need you to put me back together enough that I can go back to work. Because he's like, what do you mean? And she's like, listen, I've had a lot of worse things happen to me than this. She's like, and then they list off all the traumatic things that have happened to her. And she drowned to death and was resuscitated. She put her hand into a body cavity where there was a bomb inside of it. And the bomb eventually ended up exploding. But and she saw it and saw someone literally turn into pink mist in front of her. Right. Her husband gets hit by a car and dies. Her mother gets Alzheimer's and then dies. Her father is an alcoholic and then he dies. Her stepmother, who she started to get close to after her mother died, her stepmother died of the hiccups. She gets into a plane crash with 6 other surgeons. And on that plane crash, her sister dies. One of her good close friends, her husband's best friend, dies. One of her other close friends has to get her leg amputated because of the plane crash. Her husband, who hasn't died yet at that point, he has a severe injury to his arm to where he may not ever be able to operate again. And she has PTSD from it. They were out there for a couple days after the plane crash before they were found. So she survived that. She survived the hospital shooting. There's more, definitely. But all of that happens before she gets attacked by a patient and has to have her jaw wired shut.
I mean, at what point
do we say enough is enough?
I feel like if you're a Grey's person, you just had to have been there from the start, because it is just one of those things that none of that is appealing to me at this point. Because I can appreciate a good show, but I'm like, but if I wanted to watch a soap opera, then I just would watch a soap opera.
It's a lot. Honestly, the first 5 or 6 seasons before, spoiler alert, George dies. You already know this.
Yeah.
Before George dies, before Izzy gets cancer, it's great. It's not all the trauma, dramatic, like things that are like really far outside the realm of like all these catastrophes could happen to the same group of people.
Yeah.
It's not like that. It's much more like interpersonal drama. It's much more like them trying to figure out how to be surgeons and how to be good doctors, and like the like morals versus like, it's like the moral battle of like finding the balance between confidence as a surgeon and like the hubris and like being arrogant and thinking you're God. It's a lot more like that. And then Izzy gets cancer, and then George gets hit by a bus, and then it's all just way over, like, out. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm crying and still watching.
Well, I'm saying, I feel like if you just start, you were already into it, and then that happens, you're like, I'm along for the ride. But I'm kind of like, I don't know that I want to get sucked into that, because it sounds like you could, but it sounds like there's a lot of, I don't have a lot of emotional energy, and I just don't know
it's a lot.
If I want to give it to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it still ain't over.
No.
And that's another thing. It still ain't over.
I'm on season 14. Just started season 14. And I think they've done like 20 seasons now.
What in the fuck?
Mm-hmm. And it's super funny because now I can see where like they'll have characters on for a couple of seasons. And then it's very clearly like, oh, this is like their exit episode. Like this is where they decide like, I'm being written off the show, and I have to have a reason, my character does, for not coming back, and this is the reason. Like literally the finale of season 13, I want to say there's like 3 different characters that all get written off the show in that episode, and they're like, I ain't coming back. You ain't seeing me again.
They're like, I've had enough of this.
Pretty much.
I'm leaving. Yeah, that's just... I feel like as an actor... And I know that she caught so much flack when she said this originally. Katherine Heigl, is that how you say her name? Yeah. She plays Izzy, right? Mm-hmm. So she had got nominated. This was years and years ago while she's still in Grey's Anatomy. She had got nominated for a Emmy. Mm-hmm. And she basically, I don't know if she took her name out or she wanted to, but I know publicly she had talked about how she just felt she didn't deserve to be nominated because she didn't feel like her arc on the show was at that time really deserving of that. She didn't feel that she was really performing the kind of material.
She didn't think she was given good enough material. Yeah,
basically. And so, you know who that pissed off. Mm-hmm. One, just people in general, and two, obviously, Shonda Rhimes was not happy.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I understand why you wouldn't be happy, but I also understand where, like Catherine's coming from, where it's like, she's just being honest.
I get that, but also there's some things you should keep to yourself.
I'm just like...
For the sake of, like... Listen, I know people want to be all like, you should be able to say what you want to say and not have repercussions on your career and but no, that's not how the real world works. The real world works like, if you say certain things, there are certain consequences, whether they're, we think they're morally right or not. Like, that's just how it is.
And then after that, she had got kind of painted as like hard to work with and hard to this and hard to that, definitely. which most people have come out and been like, it's not really true or anything. It was just, she said things people didn't like, basically.
I'm pretty sure, because Ellen Pompeo, who plays Meredith Grey on the show,
she's out now finally, right?
Yeah, she's
escaped.
Yes,
they had her hostage for years, and she's finally broken free.
But she, during the pandemic, was doing a podcast, and she started talking to some of her old co-stars from Grey's Anatomy on, and on one of the episodes when she was talking to a co-star, I'm pretty sure it was Kate Walsh who played She played, what was her name? Hold on. Derek's first wife. Mm-hmm. Not Shepard. Addison Montgomery. Mm-hmm. Woo! Okay, that was hard to pull that out. But she was talking to Kate Walsh, I'm pretty sure, and they were talking about Katherine Heigl. They briefly mentioned her about how the landscape of the show, like the working hours, basically, how it had changed, and it changed during COVID and even after. But how, like, she was like, no, like, it's so nice to be, Kate Walsh was saying it's so nice to be on a show now, because she was on Emily in Paris, where, you could prove that it is possible to work a 10 or 12 hour day and you can still make a quality show and not have to, kill yourself working, 18, 20 hour days, whatever, and stuff like that. And they mentioned how, like, that's something Katherine Heigl, years ago when she was in her prime on Grey's was talking about that kind of stuff. And I think that's some of what people were saying and using that to paint her in the light of being difficult to work with, is she was talking about the grueling hours.
Yeah.
And they were like, look, she was ahead of her time, and, she was right. And I'm like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. I think she's funny. I like her. Katherine Heigl. She's done some funny movies. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, so speaking of celebrity news, not speaking of, but I'm just transitioning.
Yeah.
I have not read Britney Spears' book. It's not that I don't intend to read it. I just have not read it yet.
I don't intend to read it. I mean, listen,
yeah.
Good for her. I'm glad that the people who are interested get to read it. I just don't care.
Yeah.
It's just not for me.
It's like, I'm interested in seeing her side of like certain events, because even hearing her talk about like that infamous was it the VMA performance or MTV performance or whatever, where she,
where people said she looked like she was on drugs, or it was like a very sort of like, it looked lackluster and like it wasn't a lot of energy, and she kind of like was going through the motions of it. That was the critique at the time of what that was.
So hearing her talk about that was interesting, and like some of that behind the scenes stuff. The thing that, and I think if you want to tell your story, I think she should be able to tell her story however she wants to tell it. Finally, years later, she can. What I find interesting is people's reaction to that, in the sense of like, she talks about Justin Timberlake because they dated kind of in like, and I don't want to say prime because they both had really good careers after their relationship, but like they just, they dated back in the day.
This was right before Justin was launching into his like solo career, right?
Yeah.
It was when they were together.
Yeah, because he was still with NSYNC.
Yeah, because like Cry Me a River was like after he broke up with her, but that was really what like put him on the map solo wise.
Yeah. So what I think is interesting though is, we found out that she had she had gotten pregnant, and then she had gotten but she got an abortion, and basically how my understanding of it is she didn't wanted that, but like Justin wasn't ready to be a father. And after they talked about it a lot, she kind of reluctantly agreed, and it really kind of traumatized her in a way she talks about. And so what I find interesting though is everybody being like, and then, she does talk about how she did cheat on him. Mind you, he had been cheating on her like all the time, and she had let it go, but nobody was talking about that part. And so now everyone's like, Justin Timberlake, you are trash. And they're like coming for him now when this all happened over 20 years ago, right? And I'm sitting here like, can you be fucking for real? Like, are you fucking kidding? Like, y'all are seriously so stupid that you're going to sit here. That's fine that that's her story. It happened. And I mean, yeah, back then he sounds like he was a huge dick. Whatever. That's fine. Doesn't mean he's a dick now. He was like 19, 20 years old. Like, I'm sure he wasn't ready to be a father. And I'm not saying that anybody should be pressured to like get an abortion if you don't want one, obviously. But I'm saying like at the end of the day, she said that they mutually agreed after they talked a lot about it. So it's like I don't think someone's an asshole for not wanting to be a parent yet that young. And obviously if she wanted to keep the baby and he like forced her to get an abortion or something, like that's a different conversation. But I'm like, that wasn't what happened. She reluctantly did it, I'm sure that really sucked, knowing that like you wanted to keep it and your significant other didn't. But at the end of the day, they both wouldn't have had the same careers they had if that would have happened.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't understand this mob mentality of suddenly, now we hate Justin Timberlake. We literally loved him a few fucking weeks ago with NSYNC, and y'all are so fake. Like, it's so weird. Like, why are you trying to sit here and like hold him accountable for something that happened 20 years ago? I'm sure he's had plenty of time to process it himself, learn from it himself, and move on.
I know a lot of people are still upset about like when he did the Super Bowl performance with Janet Jackson, and then her, boob got exposed, and that whole thing. And, people say that really like ruined her career and like made her, and there was a lot of opportunities that she didn't get. And things she couldn't do because of that. And so there was a lot of, and I don't know enough about the ins and outs of what happened with that particular scenario that I could say one way or another if I believe that he knew about it or planned it or whatever.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people are still upset and like blame him and think it's his fault and say that he didn't face any sort of like career ending repercussions because of that incident, but Janet Jackson did, and that isn't fair, which I kind of agree with.
Well, I would agree with that. I don't know that that's his fault.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I would agree. Like, that's not fair. But I don't think Justin went to anybody and said, make sure you ruin her career.
Yeah.
That's just the way society's like structured for men and women.
And some people I think have said, well, he should have spoken out for her or in support of her or something to that effect. So I know that there's some like people still think he's an asshole because of that and are holding on to that. That happened like 20 years ago.
Yes.
And then they're like, aha, another instance of him being an asshole.
I don't think, to me, I'm like, I'm not arguing he wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this is 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like I saw the dumbest comment, right? Somebody said that, yeah, even though my kids want to go see the troll, he does Trolls, right? Want to go see the Trolls movie, like we're not going to do that because this is a Britney Spears supporting house and we're going to go see whatever other movie instead. And I was like, are you fucking for real? Like you're for real right now? That is so embarrassing. Like you're going to not let your kid watch Trolls because of Justin Timberlake? You have got to get a fucking grip. That is the weirdest thing on the entire planet. Like, what are you talking about? You weren't even there. You don't even know these people. Your kid just wants to watch Trolls. Like that. And then, but and at first I'm like, okay, it's one person commenting, right? Who cares? And then just the mob of comments that are like, same here. Yeah. And all the likes. And I'm like, what?
We're boycotting Trolls, the movie, because of Justin Timberlake?
I don't understand. Because this is a Britney Spears household. And I'm like, what?
Okay, so
that's so dumb.
Yeah, that's just people capping.
Yeah, I'm like, y'all,
they're capping.
That's
online
weird, man.
For the retweets and the likes and the whatever.
I'm like
that, they just
weird.
want attention.
Like this is weird.
It's stupid.
So I just am like, the character assassination of who Justin Timberlake is now is kind of just like, you're allowed to read Britney's book and, you know, finally see her side of the story, her whole life, and appreciate that for what it is and have empathy for what it is, and even be annoyed and just be upset with, like, when you're reading and be like, wow, what a fucking dick. That's so normal. But like to try to come out and like act like you can make that comparison to who he is now is just kind of silly. Like you're trying to come out over something. This happened 20 years ago. And you're acting like he just did these things and he should be talking about them now. Like people are like, when are you going to make a statement?
But also,
and I'm like, what?
I think that too often, which we've talked about on the podcast before, about like, there's too often this like, people are so concerned with celebrities' personal lives. And in a way that it's like he's allowed to like, that's his personal life. Like he's allowed to not want to comment on it publicly. He's allowed to not be forced to speak about it. Like that's personal shit that happened 20 years ago. Like that, why does that, it's not like it's illegal. It's not like he physically like hurt somebody. This is not like comparable to R. Kelly or Harvey Weinstein or Crosby. Like this is not that scenario. So it's not comparable at all.
Cosby.
What the? I couldn't remember his name. I knew I said it wrong. I was like, what's his name?
I was like, I'm going to drop it. And I was like, I can't.
No, Cosby. I knew I was close.
Put in. Yeah.
But like, it's not a comparable scenario to it's not as bad as those things, right?
Yeah.
He made some questionable decisions and he was maybe an asshole to a previous girlfriend. Okay. Why does that happened 20 years ago have to have such a significant bearing? And in these people's opinions, it should drastically affect his career now. Like, I'm sorry, there has to at some point be a separation between personal life and the shit that you do there versus your professional life and what you do there. I do not think that everything that I do and say in my personal life gets to have an effect on my professional life. If I can do my job and do it well, why does it matter? Especially because, like, again, this is not a blanket statement. It's not like we're talking about somebody that I have to make the caveat because, you know, some people are gonna be like, well, what if somebody was a murderer in their private life?
Well,
and then did she get the right to have a professional career? Shut the fuck up. You know that's not the same thing.
If they're good enough at getting away with it. No, but obviously no. Like, that's the thing is I'm like, you guys have got to fucking chill. Obviously, we're not talking about crimes or somebody being like a murderer or a sex offender or a pedophile or like literally unforgivable, just horrible things. Like, duh. We're talking about people make mistakes, fucking leave it alone. That's like the whole idea that like Taylor Swift re-releasing her albums. Like, I actually heavily thought it was weird, and I'm not a huge John Mayer fan. He has like a few songs that I like. I know he's an extremely talented musician though, and I know he used to make the panties drop back in the day. But I'm just not somebody who like listens to him now, really. But I think it's kind of weird that everybody decided to go and attack him all over again over when
he was a jerk in a relationship however long ago, 10 plus years ago.
And I'm like, yes, the age gap. That happened. That was weird. But at the end of the day, she was a grown enough I'm saying she was grown enough to legally be in that relationship. And I'm sure she learned a lot from it. And that's that. So I'm like, I'm not saying he's not an asshole, but I do think that it's weird to go and attack people. Like, it's weird to think I could be minding my business and this happened years ago.
And somebody could randomly
it's not Taylor's fault. You know, she's just releasing music. And it's really, I feel like it's only certain artists where we've gotten so absorbed in their personal lives that they're like little armies, where it's sad because in a way, I'm sure there's times where Taylor's like, I want to release this song, but what are the repercussions of this song because of my fan base?
And it's like, these are, I will say in Taylor's instance, she's a grown woman who does not need people to go and attack and defend on her behalf.
Which she even said.
She's literally like, I'm grown enough. I've got enough money and enough lawyers that if shit happens, and bodyguards, if shit happens, I'll get it handled.
Now she got her a football man too, and
she got her a little tight end.
I'm into them right now. I'm into it. I like seeing her at the games because I just like seeing her more because I'm like,
she looks happy.
She does. She looks. They're so cute together, and it's perfect. So she don't need y'all to go out and attack anybody. So I'm like,
but like, and I get some people feel differently about Britney because it's a different scenario.
It is very, very, very different.
And people were like, for so long, she was in the conservatorship and couldn't, be her own advocate and couldn't really had no control over her life, and so it was partially a case of like so many of her fans pushing and pushing and pushing to bring light to the issue that I think in turn helped her eventually in the conservatorship. So I get that there may be a sense of like the fans feeling a sense of protectiveness toward her. But at the same time, like you wanted her to be able to have control over her own life and stuff. Like you have to give her that. And if she's not saying like he's a horrible person and like go attack him and he shouldn't have if she's not saying these things, like don't put words in her mouth and don't feel like you have to, like it's weird to think that you have to then go and like in someone's career on her behalf when she never asked for that.
No, like it's just her story and that's just a part of her story. And he was a part of her story for a while and that is what it is. And so I'm like, it's just weird. It's just people are just so like weird. And I think too, I feel bad because it's like your fan base, it's like they're great, but also they could be like your worst nightmare because like she did that video where she was dancing with the knives or whatever. And yeah, that was odd. But technically speaking, she's allowed to do that.
Yep.
And her fans called the police and had the police sent to her home because they were doing a wellness check on her because they're like, girl, you okay? And she had, come out later and talked about how, like, that's just ridiculous. Like, I literally posted a video on the internet of me dancing. The knives weren't even real anyway. Like, who, like, and, she's basically like, basically just like, if it was anybody else, that wouldn't have happened. But because it's me. Because it is low key like, well, why did you guys do that if you think she's okay?
Yeah.
Why would you do that then? Why would you, like, and it's weird to think, like,
it's
you don't owe, like, I feel like she doesn't owe you anything because she's out of this conservatorship. There's almost this weird, like, well, you owe us stuff now. We helped you. Will you owe this to us? And I'm like, y'all are fucking weird.
And it's also like, are you not thinking about the fact that, like, maybe these celebrities don't want their fans to keep, like, bringing this stuff up again? Like, if you're Taylor Swift and you've already kind of, like, dealt with, your past relationships and, learned from it, moved on from it, and you're like, that's done now. And yeah, I have these songs that I wrote during that time when I was feeling these feelings, but like I don't have that same sort of like, it's not like a crippling emotional reaction to it anymore. Like it's in the past. I've moved on from that.
Yeah.
But then like to have people keep bringing it up again and again, and you're like, can y'all just like not? I would like to move on from this narrative and you won't let me. And it's like, why do you keep doing this to me?
Well, that was what was, I think, really sad with Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez. I mean, like both of them have moved on and people still bring it up. Like, I mean, all that whole situation just fucked like forever because people are just fucked in the head. Like, I think it's very apparent, and this is I love Selena Gomez. I think it is very apparent that Justin Bieber is in love with Hailey Bieber. I do not ever think that he is not in love with her. Have you seen the way that man looks at her? Like, honestly, I think he adores his wife, and they're very much in love, and that is what it is, whether you like it or not.
It's just so like dehumanizing. It feels like, to keep bringing stuff up,
and I'm like, why are you pinning these people against each other, bro? Why are you?
They're just trying to move on, like, and live their lives.
This is what, and I'm like, do you people think for a moment that if you tear Hailey down enough, Justin's gonna go, Selena, let's get back together? And you think Selena will bust his ass?
And you think Selena's gonna thank you for that? Like, it's the same
so
sort of like concept of like, do you really think that Taylor Swift is gonna like thank you for defending her honor from John Mayer over something that happened a long time ago, and she's already said she's over it?
Like, it's done. It's done. And I'm just like, I hope John, because I know he was another person that was supposed, like, and he's talked about how he was kind of piece of shit back in the day. I mean, he dated Jessica Simpson's memoir was like, oh my God, which she talked about John Mayer. So it was like, yeah, he was an ass. I'm not saying he is or isn't now. I don't fucking know him. But I do think that it's just weird that these people just go attack and attack and attack. And I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up. Y'all are fucking clowns. This is clown behavior. It's weird as fuck. So y'all shut the fuck up and leave Justin Timberlake alone, because I want my NSYNC reunion. Y'all ain't fucking gonna take that from me. Y'all are not taking my NSYNC reunion from me because y'all are a bunch of fucking clowns. So shut the fuck up. Drop it, because if y'all affect this NSYNC reunion, I'm coming for you.
Okay, listen. I'm not saying I wouldn't enjoy getting to dance around to all the hits.
Yeah.
But do we really want to see like NSYNC where we're like, okay, we're taking these now 50-year-old men, and
that's ageist, first of all,
and they're dancing and doing all the the bah, 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 like the whole shebang of
I feel like
the whole kit and caboodle of the dance. Do we need to see them moving like that?
I don't know. I think they need to show us what they've got first, and then we can determine whether they should maybe keep doing it. You
have like the backup dancers do, and y'all are more of just like kind of walking and bouncing along on the stage.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would just be fun to see, because the energy that they bring. And so I'm like, I think it would just be fun to see them perform, even if it was, low key. Like, I doubt we're getting like a tour. It'd be dope, but it's probably not
because I think they were really known for like the dancing.
They were really
over like Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, I've heard the argument a lot that Backstreet Boys had better vocals, but like NSYNC were better performers. And granted, honestly, I don't really know, because that was before my time, really. Like, I couldn't appreciate I knew hits and stuff, but like I wasn't old enough to really like enjoy them for what they were back then. But I'm old enough to enjoy the music and still be like, well, I want a little bit of that. Yeah. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready now. I have credit cards now. I don't have money. I have credit cards. But yeah, they were very performative from my understanding and what I've heard other people say. And I mean, I've watched their performances and I'm like, God damn, that shit's kind of fun.
Oh my God. I saw this clip and it cracked me up from one of NSYNC's performances where they're literally on these like bouncy balls. Yes, have you seen?
Yeah.
These big inflatable like bouncy balls that you could sit on, and it's got like a handle on it, and you like literally bounce up and down, and I cracked up. I'm weird. Like, this is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
This feels like product placement, because I remember these toys and seeing commercials and being like, I want one when I was a kid.
Did you watch it then and think you want one now? Because like I did.
Not that commercial, not the NSYNC performance, but the commercial, yes.
No,
the infomercial.
But I'm saying now. Like when you saw the net with the now.
That looks like a lot of like.
It looks fun though.
It looks like an injury waiting to happen.
For sure.
It looks like I'm gonna try to use it and then boing backwards and hit my head.
Then you died.
Yeah, I don't have health insurance, y'all. I can't.
No, you can't.
You can't risk it for the biscuit.
No. Risk it for the biscuit. Did you have anything else before I bring something up?
Yeah.
What is it?
A couple things. So we can talk about a couple quick things. So pimento cheese.
Oh fuck yeah.
And then my mom's Xmas plans. I put this my note. Christmas plans.
Yeah.
And then my Walmart experience. So which one would you like to tackle first?
That's a lot.
Yeah. They're quick though. They're all quick.
Basically, the pimento cheese story is you mentioned to your mother that I have store-bought pimento cheese and that she was offended.
Yeah.
So she made pimento cheese and then
because she makes it homemade.
Yes.
And my mom gets offended when anyone buys something store-bought that she can easily make what she considers a better homemade version of. And so, yeah, I was like, Jessica had all these dips in her house and I was like snacking on them. And she was like, store-bought. She never needs to, she's of the opinion, you never need to do store-bought pimento cheese because it's super easy to make yourself. And watch, I'll give you some of my homemade. So yeah, I brought some of my mom's pimento cheese.
Yes. So it was delicious and it was awesome and I loved it. So this was Travis's opinion. He was very surprised because he tries it and he's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, what? And he's like, I just kind of expected like more like a kick to it because they're from New Orleans. He went, it's very like creamy. He goes, it's good. He goes like, you know, if you don't like any type of seasoning or like not seasoning, but if you don't like any kind of spice, he's like, then yeah, this is like it for you. Mm-hmm. He's like, I just was expecting more like of a kick because if they're from New Orleans. And then I was like, I'll be sure to give her that note. And he's like, that's not what I'm saying.
He's like, no.
I don't this is not a critique. He goes, it's very good. I just expected.
She'll accept the challenge. She'll welcome the feedback and accept the challenge and be like, I'm going to make him a spicy ass pimento cheese that he's going to like.
Well, he liked this. Yeah. He just was like, oh,
I was expecting more.
He was expecting more of a kick from y'all New Orleans folk.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it would probably be good with like some hot sauce in it, I would think. Because it's cream cheese, mayonnaise, and shredded cheese and sour cream, I think, and pimento peppers. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I would think you put a little bit of like hot sauce in it. That could give it something, or some like just like Creole seasoning or something. But I cracked up when you said that because my mom actually really is not a fan of super spicy food. And but like my brother loves super spicy food. So like my mom usually has an array of hot sauces and add-ins for like him to add to his food and stuff when she does make a little bit spicy stuff. But like the rest of us, we like a nice, like, I don't like a mild heat. Like I regularly add red pepper, like chili flakes to a lot of what I cook. Mm-hmm. But that's because it's not like a burning heat. It's like a subtle, like adds a depth of flavor sort of heat, which is what I like.
Yeah.
But yeah, my mom's not actually really that big a fan of like super spicy stuff.
That's funny.
So I thought that was especially funny when you said that. But yeah. Oh, so my mom made butter. Speaking of things that she cooked. Yeah. So she takes it as a like a point of pride that she wants to be, I swear she wants to be like a pioneer woman. Like she loves to cook. She loves kitchen gadgets. She likes to make stuff homemade that most people wouldn't like normally make. And so she was like she makes homemade applesauce and like apple butter and stuff. And she was like, she makes homemade potpourri on her stove in the fall. Okay. Which I'm like, good for you. But she was like, I want to make homemade butter. And I was like, okay. And so she texted me last night and she did it at like, it was literally like 9 p.m. She was making butter and she made some. She had butter that she put flaky sea salt on top of, and it's like a spread and it's a whole thing. So she has her homemade butter, but also apparently when you make butter, you also get buttermilk. So I'm like, okay, it's a 2-for-1 recipe because you can then use buttermilk to make like pancakes or other stuff.
Max,
like
she's gonna be like, I gotta get a cow.
Yeah. I told her she needs to get a chicken coop. I'm like, you need to get a chicken coop and get chickens.
Oh, they smell so bad.
Yeah, I know. That's what she said.
So disgusting. Like it's honestly so nasty. Like
yeah,
ugh. Yeah. I mean, the chickens are awesome, but they smell like shit.
Yeah, she needs to get a cow so she can just milk her like farm fresh.
They have to have been pregnant. You knew it. I didn't. So literally, I got into this debate because I did not know this, but then because I was like, how would you go about this? Like, because I'm literally stupid and I thought dairy cows just always produce milk, right? I literally thought that. And no. So that's basically how, like, you know, humans, we lactate when we are like given birth.
After you give
birth or whatever for a certain amount of time, whatever. Same for a cow. So
yeah, I mean, you can extend it.
You can extend it, but I'm saying like you can't just have a dairy cow that's never had a kid and then like it can't give you milk. So
yeah, it has to have gotten pregnant and giving birth. Well, that's because there's different names. There's like for the cows in like the different stages of like their life cycle or reproductive cycle or whatever. So like a heifer is a cow that has given birth, I believe.
I don't know. I just call people I don't like that.
Yes. Oh, I heard this somewhere. Like recently somebody was talking about this. But yeah, a cow is a cow that has given birth, I believe, is called, at least once, is called a heifer. But there's like and then like there's different names for like pre and post when it's given birth.
I don't know, but yeah, you have to have a cow that had just had a baby, and then it can, like, I think up to a year it can do it afterward or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I literally didn't know that. And then I was talking to I forgot who I was talking to, but they were like, wait, what do you mean? Like, dairy cows don't just always produce milk? And I was like, no. And they're like, I'm stupid. And I was like, well, no, I did not know that either.
I didn't either.
I had no clue.
That is not part of our general education. So
no, like, it says dairy cow. I'm assuming it just always produces milk.
You hear stories about like some moms that have a baby and then they'll like breastfeed their child for like into early childhood. Like they're like 4 or 5 years old.
That's weird.
And like they won't have like some mothers will have had another child in that time. So like that helps keep the breast milk coming, but like some don't. And they just, as long as there's something stimulating it and pulling the milk out, like you're like, just stop.
That is so weird to me. And I know, I mean, no one watches yet, but if someone could watch and be like offended that I think that's weird, but I really don't care. I think it's weird as fuck if a little kid can walk up to you and grab your boob. Like when they're babies, that makes total sense to me, right? When they are walking and they walk up and they're like, give me tit or something, like I'm thirsty or I'm hungry, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. We're done. That's weird to me. I also I don't want to hear about like, well, it's free.
No. Well, then you can pump it,
put it in a bottle then, chick.
If you want it for nutritional purposes, pump it and put it in a bottle. Like it gets to a point where it is weird because they're like, you can develop and maintain a bond with your child in other ways besides sticking your boob in their mouth.
Yeah, that's weird. It's so bizarre to me.
Because some people argue that it's for nutrition and also parent-child bonding, but I'm like, if you haven't established enough of a bond to be able to, like, that removing a tit from their mouth is gonna like be detrimental to your relationship with your child.
That's
like,
weird.
That's odd.
I feel like there's some issues gonna happen later in life from this bond. This is weird.
Yeah,
it's odd to me. Oh well, whatever.
And I feel like you're also stunting their development in other ways too.
Yeah.
Because like there's a certain point where children, even as like toddlers into 3-4 years old, like they start to want to become more independent from their parents and do things themselves. Because they're like, no, I can do it. And they're like very like insistent that they want to do things themselves because they're a big boy and a big girl. Like, and I have helped raise my little sister and now my niece. And that is very much the case with both of them. So it's like, there should be a little bit more of like a separation, and that's weird to me to keep.
Yeah, that's weird. That's just
that.
Weird.
Yeah, I mean, you do you, but yeah, I'm allowed to think it's weird.
Yeah, I can think it's weird all day, so whatever. If you want us to do that, that's your business. So I was like, yes, what's this Christmas situation?
So my mom told me that she didn't want to do like regular Christmas gifts and stuff for all of, she calls us the kids. So like me, my brother, and his wife, who are all full grown adults.
Yes.
And then my little sister who's 13. And then I have my niece who's 3.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, we'll do like, I'll do some like presents for regular presents type stuff for, your sister and your niece. But her grandchild.
Yes.
But she was like, for the big kids, as she calls us, she's like, I was thinking about doing like beer pong, like a type game, right? So she's like, well, and I've never played actual beer pong, but she's like, it's the same sort of game, but you set up the cups and then you have different like prizes, or like if it's money or little like different stocking stuffer type things in different cups. And so then you play the game and then you win what's in the cup that like you landed in.
Okay.
And she was like, I think that'd be fun. And she's like, I've already started buying stuff to like fill in the cups. And I'm like, that would be very fun.
That is fun.
Because also, I don't know if you know.
Oh.
I am very competitive.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you were aware.
No, I didn't know that.
My brother also extremely competitive.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Like the trash talk is great. And so that is going to be very fun for us. And then
what's funny is you're both sore losers. So like everybody, and you're sore winners. So like literally everybody's going to get to enjoy watching it because as long as you're not participating, like being a bystander would be fun.
So my sister-in-law, so my brother's wife, that is what she chooses to do because she knows how we get. And even like when she's with her family and they're playing like board games and stuff, if my brother is participating, my sister-in-law has to be like, okay, we got to like time out, take a break. Like she has to like reel him back in because he will try to throw down and like get very
She's like,
competitive.
we're literally playing sorry.
Yeah.
Like you've got to calm down.
Chill out.
Like
she's like,
that's enough.
It gets a lot for her. So she's happy to be like the supportive like bystander and just watch, which is great. Because then me and him get to like go in.
You fucking suck.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that would be fun to watch. Maybe stressful, but that makes sense.
Oh, and then so my other quick thing was so I was at Walmart on Friday. I stopped by after I got off work. And I was standing in the aisle minding my business. I think I was listening to our podcast episode in one AirPod in my ear because I never go anywhere in public with both in my ears because it's dangerous, ladies. Dangerous because you need to be able to hear stuff. So I had one AirPod in, was listening to our podcast episode, and I was also grocery shopping. So I was either updating my list or I think I was taking notes on the podcast episode.
Yeah.
And so like one of the employees at Walmart, like one of the like shopper people, he stopped like right next to me as I'm like in the aisle. And he was a young guy. He was like maybe 20 years old at the most. He was kind of dorky looking. He had like glasses and a little bit of a lisp. And I was like, bless your heart. But he stopped in front of me and he was like, ma'am, he said, he didn't say ma'am, but he said, excuse me. He was like, I just wanted to say you're really pretty.
Aww.
I was like, oh. And then he was
That's
like, yeah.
sweet.
And I kind of missed what he said because I'm pretty sure either you or I were talking in my ear at that point. But I caught something about husband. So I think he was saying like something like, he said like, if no one's told you today, you're really pretty. And I think he said something like, if your husband or boyfriend hasn't said it, you know, you should know or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Aww.
oh, okay, thanks. And then I just kept walking. I was like,
and then he's like, where are you going? He's like, this isn't done.
the
The interaction's not finished.
No, but I just thought that was, I was like, I got a compliment at Walmart.
That's fun. At Walmart.
Yeah, at Walmart. I get compliments at gas stations and at Walmart. That's not the first time that's happened at Walmart. And I'm like, why me?
I don't know. You just got like, you're the queen. You're the queen of Walmart and gas stations.
In Walmart, I'm a 10.
What are you in Target?
A solid 8.
Well, I got complimented by a girl in Target, so what does that make me then?
You're a 10 out of 10.
And then at Walmart, I'm like, I mean, what, a 15, a 20, I guess, if that's what that is?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just,
whoa.
not even a scale able to measure.
It's not even there. Okay, guys. Yeah, this was a recovery episode because we had to take all the Halloween decorations down. Trying to survive here. It's just rough. So yeah, that was pretty much the vibe. Everything's dying on us. Everything's barely
We're dying on us.
Everything's just, it's hard out. It's hard out here.
It's hard out here for a
I turned this. I turned it off.
Okay.
Because it was just randomly going in and out, and I was like, nah. Well, okay. That's the vibe. That's it for today.
We'll talk at you next time.
We'll talk at you next time. Peace
Bye.
out. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed that episode, and if you did, you should totally hit that like and subscribe button. You can follow us everywhere at WAYYPOD. And remember, don't be ugly, dumb, or stupid. We'll talk at you next time. Bye.